What's up, and welcome to Nighttime at the Nerd Bar, episode
Let's
134.
go.
We are bringing you that Monday Wild Energy live. If you're joining us live, join us over in the live chat. And if you're watching later, awesome. Comment down below. Introductions. Hello, I am Carrie Lane.
And I'm Katie Cullen.
And we are going to be talking about some fun anime news and announcements, as well as the Animation is Film Festival, which we attended, and going to be covering Frieren and more. So stick around for all that. This little nice bar here will let you know what we're covering.
Yes.
Yay!
Keep an eye on the lower third.
Yes. And then looking over in the chat, and Rab Adler says, "My body is ready." Yay!
Nobody is ever fully ready.
It's like, ooh, we're getting there. Those Monday energies, it can be hit or miss. Sometimes you're like, ooh, but that's okay. We're glad to be here with all of you.
We are fully doing our best. We are doing it. We are rolling.
Yes. All right. Things we're excited about.
Indeed. Right into the anime news. The Blue Amiburo anime is now available on streaming platforms, and in celebration, the OP and ED are now available. Megumi Ogata has joined as Shogun. So, a lot of news for the Blue Amiburo anime. Similar to titles like Shogun and Vagabond, Blue Amiburo is set to entertain and enlighten audiences with its unique depiction of a pivotal and culturally significant moment in Japanese history. It is I saw it in the paragraph earlier. The Blue Amiburo anime covers the final years of the Edo period and is a dramatized retelling of the rise of the Shinsengumi and the social and political change they inspired in 19th century Japan. So, if you are here for history, you are here for this anime. The opening is titled Blue and will be performed by the rock band Spy Air. The ending is titled Unbreakable and is performed by the Jet Boy Bangers, which is such a great band name, honestly.
That's awesome.
Megumi Ogata has been cast as character Kikuchiyo, also known as the Shogun Tokugawa Iemochi. I am doing great with names today. Yeah. New episodes of Blue Amiburo will premiere on Crunchyroll and region-specific platforms every Saturday at 3 a.m. Pacific time. So keep an eye out. That is available. And if that sounds like it's your jam, it's on Crunchyroll.
All right.
All right.
And speaking of other things being available and recent happenings, New York Comic Con just wrapped up. Crunchyroll had world premiere trailers, new anime acquisitions, and more. They had their, industry panel, which is always a great one to attend. We've been to that one here in California and Los Angeles for Anime Expo. And here we go. Crunchyroll has announced some titles coming to the streaming service, and some of those titles, this is just a small sampler because, go check out Crunchyroll for all the details of more. There's going to be a based on the manga Dialect of the Girl I Fell in Love With in the Okinawa is Too Difficult to Deal With. Like, I love that. I love these long titles. Yeah. Is a coming-of-age slice of life, slice of romance anime. Okitura fell in love with an Okinawan girl, but I just wish I knew what she was saying.
Oh, jeez. Sir.
Oh, that sounds adorable. That's set to stream January 2025. Side note, I was listening to Learn Japanese thing, and they're like, this is how you say it. And then this is how you'd say it for Okinawa, how they say it in Okinawa. And it was a little different. And you do it as this fun little sing-song thing. So that is funny, a regional dialects. We also have anime adaptation for Go For It, Nakamura-kun, based on the manga of the same name. That's coming soon in 2025. The first trailer and key art was shown world premiere at New York Comic Con. So that's always exciting to be at these kind of panels because then you get first look. And with the fans, it's so exciting.
This is something that a lot of you might recognize by the look alone. If you've seen people like to do redraws of the cover art for this, where it's kind of the harried looking person in the middle and all of the people in star shapes behind them, this is the source material. This is where that came from.
Then we also have, there's still definitely more, but I like this. I was like, ooh, updates ones too. Also, following the thrilling conclusion of High Card Season 2, it's confirmed High Card special episode, The Flowers in Bloom, will be coming to Crunchyroll November 5th. So that's coming up very, very soon.
Nice.
New trailer for Dr. Stone, the Science Future, and so many more. So go check out Crunchyroll for continued announcements and their coverage from New York Comic Con. But those are just a couple highlights here. This is also cool because we also have covered My Hero Academia. My Hero Academia Battleground had a exclusive first look at New York Comic Con and some behind the scenes footage. And I'm like, ooh, so this is an anime game on Roblox, and it's set to launch soon. So I was like, yeah, that's fun. We've also seen Crunchyroll has had Anime Expo, or My Hero Academia games on display at Anime Expo as well before. So I was like, all right, good times.
Speaking of things that Crunchyroll is providing, Crunchyroll is doing more physical releases. Thank you. We love physical media in this house. Crunchyroll to release The Apothecary Diaries Season 1 Part 1, Horimiya the Missing Pieces, and more on Blu-ray this January. So we have... I love that we have the Blu-ray set for Apothecary Diaries, and then on top of it, it says art not final. So I can't gush about how beautiful it is yet because they haven't confirmed how beautiful the cover of this is going to be. But if you've seen the art for Apothecary Diaries, you know that it looks great.
It's a pretty one.
Yeah, so we are getting Season 1, Part 1, and of course, special features, trailers, Texas opening and endings, and 12 mini anime episodes. We are getting Horimiya the Missing Pieces, including character art cards, and then your usual special features, opening and ending songs, etc. Full calendar, we have Dead Mount Death Play Part 2 on January 7th. January 14th is the complete season of The Wrong Way to Use Healing Magic. Season 2 of Banished from the Heroes Party. Villainous Level 99, I may be the hidden boss, but I'm not the Demon Lord, the complete season of that. January 21st is Horimiya and The Strongest Tank Labyrinth Ride, the complete season. And then January 28th is The Apothecary Diaries. So again, gift-giving season is coming up. And for these, it's always nice to do a little pre-order over on the Crunchyroll store website. And you can print out the picture of what you've pre-ordered, put it in a card, or if you're like me, put it in a box, put a rock in the box, put that box in another box, and then another box, and then 3 layers of wrapping paper, because I am that human, and gift it to that person so they know that, like, no, I didn't forget about you. The thing that I'm giving you is not physically available yet. And again, gift giving is coming up. I already have my assignment for my yearly Secret Santa, so it's a good time to get started on that.
Nice. I was like, not a physical media exactly just yet, but in theaters.
Shifting into movies.
Yes.
Yes.
Reminder for coming up, Solo Leveling Reawakening recap film, Rise, Fight, Survive is coming out on December 6th. Some key art has been released. But this is more the reminder. The film is coming out on December 6th, and the new season will be coming out in January. So be on the lookout for that. It's exciting. And the film, when it's coming to theaters, they will have the option of seeing it with Japanese with English subs or English dub. So be sure to check your ticket and your local theater for getting those tickets of picking the one you want to go check out.
Yeah. And it's a good time either way, let's be real.
Yes.
So this is perfect for if you know someone who's like, I want to get into Solo Leveling. I don't have enough time to watch it before the next season drops. Just bring them here. Bring them to the recap movie. They'll get the gist of it, and then they can watch the new season with you.
Yes.
I'm kind of loving these theatrical release recap movies. Like, they are so fun.
Real quick, looking over the chat, I'm like, wait, I feel this is a newer name, maybe. Morningstar Banff. I like that. That's fun. Hello. Hi. Hey, everyone. If you've been here before, I'm sorry I missed your name, but I was like, oh, this looks like a new name.
Yes. Hello.
Welcome, everybody.
Yeah.
Continuing
on with Crunchyroll anime movies in theaters. Crunchyroll announces tickets now on sale for epic fantasy anime film Overlord, The Sacred Kingdom. So If you have been watching this show, you know that we've covered the latest season of Overlord, namely because I sat down with Carrie and said, "Have you seen this? Do you want to see this? Do you want to catch up so we can talk about the latest season?" That was
This one.
a me thing. And the fact that I have been losing my mind, climbing the walls, waiting for this Overlord movie to drop ever since we got, yeah, you're getting another season and a movie 2 Anime Expos ago. So, we are getting Overlord the Sacred Kingdom. Tickets are on sale for audiences in the United States and Canada. It will be released in theaters starting November 8th and will be available in Japanese with English subtitles as well as dubbed in English. So, whatever your linguistic preference is, as long as it's one of those two, you got it. I am so excited for this, you guys. I am beyond stoked. So, go see Overlord in theaters. You can get tickets now.
Woo.
Yeah.
Also, look over chat. We got Gig Derek says, "Greetings, other humans. Greetings.
Greetings.
Yay. All right. This one is more news and more on the official side of things.
It's still speaking of movies, but we're widening our scope.
It is. So if you weren't aware, Toho has now acquired GKIDS. So the question is like, so what does that mean? So Toho has announced they've reached an agreement to acquire 100% equity share of GKIDS, and GKIDS, you should know who they are. If you don't, go follow them on social too. They are an Academy Award-winning North American animation producer and distributor. And so the Toho's acquisition of GKIDS serves to further accelerate its, quote, Toho vision of 2032 Toho Group Management Corporate Strategy, end quote. That was like I like that as a specific tag. So which set the company's plan for growth and expansion outside of Japan and aims to connect its Japanese and international productions, creators, and studios more directly and widely with creators and fans overseas. So this is pretty exciting to see what that will mean for continued production and distribution of Japanese titles. And here we go. Toho and GKIDS have worked together for many years on such hits such as Weathering with You, Promare, Spirited Away Live on Stage, and others. So Toho is also the Japanese domestic distributor for many of the same properties handled by GKIDS in North America, including the works of Studio Ghibli, Mamoru Hosoda, and many more. So I'm looking forward to seeing what this merger will lead to. I mean, yeah. If it means more anime here and for us to enjoy, productions from Japan, yes.
Yeah, I'm here for it.
Right. All right. And then that leads us to That's like, and speaking of, because GKIDS is one of the big companies behind the Animation is Film Festival. This festival is at the Chinese Theater, and it's in Hollywood, and it's been there. I'm not exactly sure how many years, but it's been a number of years, and
a few, yeah.
A number of times now, and it's generally October, so far as I recall. It's a really fun one that if you're into any kind of animation, which if you're here, I would think you are, from anime style animation to other hand-drawn Looney Tunes, which Katie will talk about too, to stop motion animation, short films, feature films, and the like. It's very fun.
In previous years, AIFF has had the premieres of Wendell and Wild, for those of you who remember seeing that on Netflix and should watch it again. It's a great spooky season movie. The One Piece Red movie and The Boy and the Heron was the opening night premiere last year. So and the Animation is Film Festival has some very, very heavy hitters in its lineup every year.
And it is so awesome to watch these films with fellow fans of animation, and often the filmmakers are there, and they did a bunch of Q&As as well. And in that, the opening night film was The Colors Within. That will be coming to theaters nationwide starting January 24th. And another one we caught in the anime field of things is Ghost Cat Anzu, and this will be coming to theaters nationwide on November 15th. That is based on the manga, but is very different. There's a whole bunch of new stuff added to it, but if you're familiar with the manga, you'll have an idea. But yes, Katie, talk about Looney Tunes because you got to see that one.
Yes, I was able to catch the American premiere of the Looney Tunes movie The Day the Earth Blew Up. And it was so much fun, you guys. If you want to see it for yourself and you are stateside, it is getting a theatrical release February 28th of next year. Definitely go, definitely support it in the theaters. We've all seen the brouhaha over Looney Tunes movies and whether they get theatrical releases as of late. And so thank you, Catch Up Entertainment, for picking up the distribution for this one. So we do get a theatrical release here because, oh my God, you guys, it is so much fun. It is very, very much Looney Tunes antics. It feels right. The Looney Tunes are classic characters. They are timeless characters. So a lot of the jokes are very modern jokes. There is a rideshare joke where the Uber is a horse, and it's just beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And it's still got a really good story, very solid voice acting, fantastic animation. One of the best jokes in the movie is just how they choose to animate a specific character. And every time this character showed up on screen, that animation choice hits you in the face, and the audience was howling every time. So highly, highly recommend seeing The Day the Earth Blew Up in theaters because we want to support Looney Tunes movies in theaters. We want to support Looney Tunes movies in general, and seeing it with an audience was so, so much fun. There is one punchline in there where I cannot wait for this movie to come out because I've been quoting it in my head because of the joke that it's the punchline to and the way it's delivered. It's one of those, this is going to be in my vernacular for a very long time, and I can't say it because it's going to ruin the joke for everyone. So I'm going to hold on to that for like 5 months. And then when it drops, we'll all have a conversation. But yes, definitely keep an eye out for that. Mark your calendars. If you're doing like I use the AMC app and you can go, hey, tell me when these tickets are available. Do that.
And how was the Q&A?
The Q&A was so funny. The Q&A was wonderful. It was, I believe, with the director, and he talked about behind the scenes stuff, a few things that got left on the cutting room floor, which were hysterical. Again, it's the sort of thing where, like, I can't say it without it being spoilers, but it just, everyone understood the assignment. Everyone involved in that movie 110% understood the assignment. And it shows. It is a blast. And you can take the whole family, which isn't something you can say for every movie that's released nowadays. But yeah, you can take the whole family and everyone will be entertained.
Nice. Then circling back to the opening night film, Colors Within. Normally, I'm not a huge slice of life person. I normally don't look for those movies. They're just not quite my jam. But this is such a precious movie. It is so beautiful. It's this high school girl at like a Catholic boarding school, and her uniqueness, her quirk. I like that she says quirk too. I was like, My Hero Academia. She essentially can see like your aura. She sees you and sees what color you emanate. And that's just really kind of a fun and beautiful idea. And she's just this really adorable high schooler and just other antics. And it's just so funny. And, there's not really any real peril, but it's just a great time. There's beautiful music as well. And I liked how you described it. The soundtrack is
all bangers, no skips. Like, yeah, because a good chunk of the movie is 3 high school kids forming a band. And so you get to see them in the process of getting to know their instruments better, coming up with these songs, writing the music and lyrics, and building off of what they do. I need the soundtrack
in our seats
on Spotify. And talking with talking with someone at the party afterwards, and they're like, "Yeah, I was sitting behind you guys. You were really enjoying the
Yeah.
movie." I'm like, "Yes, yes, the music was immaculate."
Yes.
So yeah, it's not something I would have sought out for myself because I don't usually
Mhm,
go, "Oh, a slice of life story. That's what I want."
mhm,
I'm more of a shonen person, but having watched it, I enjoyed it
mm,
immensely, and I
yes.
definitely have a few people in my mental Rolodex where I'm like, when this is available, I need to like put it in front of them and go, "Put this in your eyeballs. You will love
Yeah.
it. It is tailored to your tastes."
Again, that's coming out in January 24th. And yeah, if you want something, and it is not like it's everything about it's good slice of life. Like there is
Yes.
no
Yes.
overt tragedy where you're like bawling your eyes out. The way some of those other ones can.
Yeah. It's a
Yeah.
vibe
This
is
is the
what it is.
same.
It's a vibe.
It's like, where's the director name? I was like, hold on, because it's the same director for A Silent Voice,
Mhm.
and it was also a sold out screening.
Mhm.
And yes, Naoko Yamada, and also who also did Liz and the Bluebird, and as I said, Silent Voice. So this is just a beautiful, stunning film, and if you just want that like warm, cozy feel goods, and yeah, you just leave being like happy, you should definitely
Yeah.
check that one out.
Yeah, this was lovely.
And the other one that we caught too was Ghost Cat Anzu, again coming out November 15th, so that's even sooner. This
Yeah.
is quirky, it's funny, it's very kind of silly.
It helps to have a bit of a basis in Japanese mythology because
A
we
little
watched the
bit,
sub. The
yeah.
sub was what was available, and it's translated as Ghost Cat Anzu, but they were calling him like a Bakeneko, which is a
Yeah.
specific type of mythological creature. It's one
Mhm.
of those things where if you have a little more background, aspects of it make a little more sense. It's not going to be incomprehensible to someone who doesn't know, but it is helpful if you have like, half of the 101 class. You don't have to be an expert. You don't
Yeah.
just kind
Or
of
at least have an imagination, and the
Mhm.
world building, gives it to you of who
Yeah.
sees what and what exists that people can all interact with, and how
Mhm.
they just go, "Sure, that thing is there. I shall interact with that thing,
Yep.
whatever." So yeah, is that one is also very entertaining and very funny. That one does have a little bit more of an emotional roller coaster,
Yeah.
but everything is still good.
If
That's
you
my
are if you are
yeah.
into interesting animation techniques, the
Yes.
entire movie was filmed live, and live action actors,
Mhm.
everything, and then rotoscoped.
Mhm.
And I think having listened to it and kind of listened to the audio track, I don't have confirmation for this, but the way that some things sounded, it sounded like they were using the audio from that as
I
well.
felt they
Just
were
the way that
too, the way it
footsteps
was.
were, some
Same.
line deliveries, it really felt
Mhm,
like it came
mhm.
from a live action movie. So it's
Yes.
very interesting. It's very unique in terms of the animation. It looks
Yes.
great. It
Yeah.
looks great. And I found out in our post screening interview with the director and producer that for the live action, they initially had the person playing Anzu, who is like a big humanoid cat, in a full mascot suit. And it
Oh, they
didn't
did.
work out, so they didn't do that for the full filming. Like that was the
Mm,
test, and they went, "This doesn't look right." So
mm.
that was actually one of my questions is was my dude
Yeah,
wearing a mascot suit playing this? And the answer is no, actually. They did try that though. So
yeah.
this is one where I think it's more interesting to watch when you have some of the behind the scenes knowledge.
Mm,
And
mhm.
yeah, it's it is an interesting one. It's an odd one.
And stay tuned here. Make sure you are subscribed on the Fanversation channel and get that notification bell, because we have interviews with these filmmakers of the films we've just talked about and more. So stay tuned
Yes.
for all of that. But make sure you're subscribed so you know when those go up. Those should be going up very soon.
Mhm.
But we also had like the directors of Moana were there, and we spoke with them. We spoke with some actors who were in one of the shorts films. And so it's just really great to be able to interact with the filmmakers as well. I saw the Short One program, which was a nice variety from around the world, and they had everything from cutesy funny of kids seeing people kiss each other and they're like, ew, gross. And it's so precious. And you're like, this. And the thing is, when you're interested and you want to kiss someone, your lips turn sparkly pink and like bright. And then if the other person does, they also have it where it's, it doesn't matter how old you are, it does not matter the sex of the person. And so like all that was just really cute and precious. But the thing I really did appreciate with the Animations film with this shorts program was, unfortunately, none of the filmmakers were there, which is kind of a bummer, but they had a video message from each film had a video message from the filmmaker saying who they were, what their involvement was. I think pretty much all of them were like the writer, director, or at least director of the film. And they gave like a behind the scenes of like what inspired it, why they picked this animation. And I just felt that really was so great to watch after the short because, one of them you're like, so where did those ideas come from? And then they're like, oh, well, I had wanted to work with live action and stop motion. And this is where this idea came from. So the Kiss one was a filmmaker where he had a short film at a previous film festival and a guy's going off to war. He kisses his fiancée to leave. And all the children in the audience, he said, were like, ew, gross. And he just thought it was so funny. So he wanted to explore that and do that with that short. So like
That
stuff
is
like
adorable.
that, precious. Right? You're just like, But then they also had ones where it was two young children and kind of dealing with like their mom had recently died due to breast cancer and just how they're coping with that and everything. Even though it sounds heavy, it's not a super downer of a short. But both of those filmmakers had experienced cancer in different ways. And so that just was like, it was such a personal film. So Animations film, thank you so much for including that because I've seen one of those other shorts at a different film festival and I didn't get that info. So then I'm like, oh, this other short makes really cool to hear all that behind the scenes info. So I thought that was really great that they facilitated that, however they got that done. I was like, yes.
It is really nice to have that context sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like it stands on its own just fine, but it means more when you know.
Oh, yeah, because then it was this was a personal experience of mine. This is inspired by something in my own life. Or one of them was three brothers, and they're going to Istanbul to go get hair transplants because they're all balding in different ways. And just there's only one appointment available, but how does the one brother tell the other two? And like comedy of that and just like relationship. And so like that's funny. And but the other thing I would say is highly recommend any film festival you go to. Shorts programs are a really great way to get a sample of a bunch of different types of films and everything. So those are always my favorite to check out. I feel we've covered quite a bit of the Animation Film Festival. I hope you enjoyed some of that and stay tuned for interviews.
Yeah, and we only saw a fraction.
Yes, there were so much more.
There was so much. There was an entire third day that we were not available to attend. Like there is a lot there. So if you're ever going, well, is it worth it to go to a screening? Is it worth it to go to a panel? Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and they had some great panels and sit downs with filmmakers. So those are also a great thing to check out. All right. So now the other thing continuing on our journey.
Yes.
Rerun. These were a nice couple of slice of life, but all the awns, so much awns in these episodes. I was like, this is so precious.
I appreciated these a lot. I have to say, we started off with calling Fern on her bullshit, and I'm like, considering that I went off last week about this a little bit, I appreciated this a lot. That it's just like, no, you can't really just keep doing this to someone and calling her out on you don't ever listen to anything he says. Like that's, I don't agree with Cyan's assessment of, oh, well, men are just really bad at keeping track of dates and whatnot. Like, no, you need to do better. Yeah. Anyone is perfectly capable of keeping track of dates, and anyone is perfectly susceptible to forgetting things. Like it's just people. It's not a gender thing.
And it's communication. Did you
Mhm.
ask when their birthday was? Did you tell them it was your birthday? We covered that before, that Fern never really asked him, so she didn't know in advance either. It's not like she was like, "Oh, I've known it's his birthday and I have a present planned." So, I didn't like that too, that she's like, "Oh, I'm so offended you didn't buy me something." It's like,
Well,
calm
and
down.
when he said, like, "I was going to offer to take you, and then you went off on me for
Mhm.
not having anything," which to me says
Yep,
he knew he had a plan, and she jumped the gun and
yep,
accused him of forgetting, so
yeah,
and then even when they went shopping, it was 3 hours of him, like, looking at stuff and then looking at her like, "Does she like it?" I'm like, "Sweetie, just tell him, for
yeah.
God's sakes."
It's
So,
a really
we got
nice
a
bracelet,
real
though. I was
oh,
like,
it's
"That was
beautiful.
really cute." Yeah,
We got a real tsundere on our hands, y'all.
yeah. Oh
And
my
tsundere
gosh, yeah.
is a character type I personally don't have a lot of patience with.
We have 2
That's
orphans
true
raised
too.
by weird hermits. True. Very true. My goodness, yes.
Yeah,
Yep,
that's fair.
that's fair.
That's fair. We
Yep, and,
also,
mm,
yeah, just generally speaking, get a little more of the idea of being praised by the goddess at the end of your life and
mhm,
having someone on earth to praise you. And
mhm.
I'm curious as to what the phrasing is in the original Japanese and whether the subtitles call it something else, because it's that
Mm.
sort of thing where my I've been watching anime for decades sense is tingling in the there
Oh,
is a
mhm, mhm.
cultural connotation here that you're not getting, or there is a very specific
Hmm.
phrase here that means something that is not translating into your native tongue. In much the same way we're talking about Ghost Cat Anzu, the difference between Ghost Cat and Bakeneko.
Yeah.
So that's
Well,
that's what it
see,
feels like to me. That's not
okay.
necessarily the case, but that's what that's pinging me as.
I didn't necessarily quite have that, but I did think it was funny of cross-referencing of seen other examples of anime, is the very childlike head pat, but to a grown-ass adult of,
Yeah.
like, "You've done well," because they do that in Library Wars, and it's really cute, and the character's just so happy when somebody does that. So I was like, "Okay, is this also tied into, like, praising your child and making sure that that's that kind of building up of self-confidence and needing the outside validation as well, you know?" So it's like,
Yeah.
maybe.
It's like
Uh,
doing a good job
yeah.
so the person in charge of everything goes, "You did good."
Rab says, "Praise your life, you had meaning." True.
I
I mean,
suppose,
that could
yeah.
be a part of it too. And it was worth everything. Yeah. So that could be it too, of like they want to feel it is a thing that many people, you need that kind of, was it worth it? What I do matter, so
Yes.
yeah.
And I mean,
Um
to pull it back a little bit and get a little
mhm.
philosophical, it
Yes.
always matters. You are
Mhm.
always going to make a difference to the people you interact with, whether it is positive or negative, in ways that you cannot always predict. It might be that if you go get coffee every day, the barista recognizes you as their favorite customer, or the person with that
Mhm.
specific order, or the person who always has a smile or a weird fact or whatever. Like, you never know whose life you're affecting and how. So, yes, everything you do has meaning. You may not
Mhm.
see it, but it does. So it's always worth
Yes.
it to be kind.
Then also, of everything having meaning, I like Frierin's little ring that was not just a little ring. That
And just
was
the,
full on
oh,
proposal. I
it's
was
like,
like,
oh,
"What?"
I'm sure Himmel had no idea. And like, you see his expression when she picks it. I'm like,
He's
oh
like,
no, he knew. He knew.
"Yeah."
And of course, someone who's like the classic fantasy hero would have an understanding of flower languages. Like,
Yeah.
of course. That's just part
He's
and parcel,
giving
man.
me like, what?
That's just part and parcel.
Yeah. No, he's also giving me this vibe of, so much of his like peacocking is not really is more just for the show and to be remembered, that if you got him quiet one on one, he probably would not be so like, "I'm showing off so much." Because it's
Oh, yeah.
seeing these little moments where it's really sweet, and you're kind of seeing through that facade. Because it's like, wait, are you really like that? Or is it, I'm like, oh no, I think this is just kind of this showy thing. And But then he's all grandiose of like kneeling to give her the ring on her ring finger too, and I was like,
I think he's both.
okay.
I think he's
Yeah,
a drama
it could
kid.
be both.
Like, I don't
Yeah.
think you pose for 5
Mm,
hours for a sculptor and make them redo things if you're not some flavor of drama kid.
yeah.
So I think those are both genuine sides of him.
Yeah, free rent. It's like, wait a minute, I'm married? Yeah, seriously,
Yeah,
that was a
right. I mean, not anymore.
yeah. And also that ring was cute, so I thought that
Oh,
was like
yeah.
a fun the so these were more, a little more quiet episodes in a way of like, lots of cute stuff, but we also get our kidnapping wagon. I do love the horse floating once they've
Right?
landed.
Just and this is just the world's chillest jewelry vendor.
Yes,
Just
this guy
a
is so,
hundred
like, his
percent a vibe.
whole yeah. Oh, by the way, I have a spell for locating things and knickknacks. I figured you might want this.
It's
I
like
was
I
like,
was gonna give it to you anyway, but now that you've asked if it exists, I'm definitely handing it over. Like, I
yeah,
wish you'd asked me like 4 days ago. We could have
yeah.
done this. Yeah.
More world building with the magic in terms of fully understanding how a spell works is required to use it. So if you just copy and paste it or copied notes, that does not mean you get to know how to do it.
They can use it without fully getting everything,
Mhm.
but in order to modify it or make it their
Yeah.
own, they have to understand it.
Yep.
Which is why for what's it called? Zoltrak, the murder spell, they were fully able to like take it apart and study the components and remake it as their own. Whereas for flight spell, because Zoltrak took them 80 years. Flight
Yeah.
spells they've only had for the past 40.
Yeah.
So that means that they took on the Demon King without the flight spells, without anything, so being at a severe disadvantage if you have an aerial opponent. So it's very interesting. I love how they world build. I love how they build the magic system.
Yes.
Just yeah,
Uh,
you have to fully understand it if you want to make modifications. Copy pasting is easy. Fully getting the theory and cracking open why something works is hard. And now we have 3 different languages of magic. We have
mhm.
monsters and demons and their magic and what they can do. We have human magic, and we have divine magic, which is the purview
Mhm.
of clerics, which again makes of clerics of my D&D spell, my D&D up in here, of priests. It's your white mage categories, which it sounds like again anyone can learn to use it. Freeran kind of poo-pooed it as like, well, we don't really understand it, so I didn't really study it. But those who use it best are those who are born with a knack for it.
That makes sense too. Of
Mhm.
that's essentially, I think, her mentor too. Of just kind of had a knack for it.
Yeah.
Back to the carriage. I like this comment. No, Laura says the group was like, "Isn't this fun?" LOL. They were super chill for being way up in the air, and nobody was like hanging on for dear life and freaking out. They're just like, "Oh, well, we should probably figure this out soon." No
You're
big.
just fully like, oh, is it Tuesday?
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, this happens all
Yeah.
the time." No
Yeah.
big. Yeah, that was great. And what was it? So I wanted to get a sign with his photograph too. And I know we're kind of jumping, but it
Yeah.
was
We're
making me
going
think of
back
it.
and forth, but it's fine.
Yeah. I had the joke, and only because it was so cute when his friend ran up. I'm like, they were roommates.
They were besties.
I mean, I know he likes his older women, but maybe this friend, they were roommates. But I think it's really, I mean, it probably is not, but it was just a funny thought of like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
But yes, I love this friend and this friend going on his own quest, and it really was I'm not gonna wait for you. And interesting that photography exists in this world,
But only
in a
magical
way.
photography. It's not
Yeah.
chemical photography. It's we saw the
Hmm.
mage doing it like with their staff. Like, not sure
Yeah.
how you got that on the paper,
Yeah.
but I like this. This is
Oh,
fun.
Giga there goes. I can neither confirm nor deny. Fair.
For everything,
Well,
let's be real.
Well, I was not, I was like tiny side tangent on that. I'm like, there are so many anime shows that are like, well, up to the viewer's interpretation. Hey, and it's like, come on now. Yeah. So yeah, I thought that was really great seeing that kind of his getting more of his flashback and learning about his friend's journey, and everybody kind of taking time to get their own side quests completed, even though it's still on the journey. Except for hey, your destination's really far to the side. What am I gonna do?
I mean, let's be real. We're not. The next episode's called Take Care. We're not keeping him. He hasn't been featured heavily enough in the opening for us to keep him.
Yeah.
And they were very clear about, we're basically just getting you out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
now,
there's
thing
no,
is
we're sticking together forever.
Could come back.
Maybe this season, maybe not. Be interesting to meet his friend, who the subtitles have been calling Guerrilla Warrior from the get-go, which is very funny.
It is very funny.
So, and I appreciate I'm going to have a unique name, and that way people will never forget it. Which, all right, fair. It's led to some bullshit naming practices currently, but like, there are some things you shouldn't name your kids. But
he wants to find his Guerrilla Warrior.
He chose,
Yes.
He chose to be called Guerrilla Warrior. He wants to be called Guerrilla Warrior. All right, your name is Guerrilla Warrior. Let's go. Guerrilla Warrior and Goatee Priest. G&G.
Yep.
But I love that, like, oh, it's a statue of two ancient heroes, and one of them we met like 5 episodes ago. Like, dude. That is the wild thing about elf lifespans, is like, oh yeah, he's an ancient hero, and he's still walking around. Had we known 6 months ago, we could have asked him who his buddy was. But this also really brings into focus what is the rest of your life, who's going to remember you, and turning to religion, because there is at least someone out there longer lived than I am who has an idea of the scope of my lifetime and remembers things. Because there's statues of him everywhere, growing moss, with his bestie, whose name no one remembers. That's so wild. He's lived long enough to see himself become obscure.
Yep. Well, then I mean, again, still kind of jumping around, but thematically continuing, we meet our super old dwarf that's probably longer than your average lifespan, who is a spry old devil. I love that. I would expect nothing less on this show. I'm like, nah, he's faking it. Freeman's like, really? You're doing that old senile thing?
Just like, really? Again? And then, like, the subtitle of this show is Everyone Hates Stark, I swear. Because everyone's just like, all right, we're going to beat up on this kid. Like, come on. I know he's the one with an axe, but like, please chill.
Tough love training. So it's like, oh yeah, by the way, you stay with him. He's going to train you. And you're like, oh, great. Poor kid's like sleeping at dinner.
Stark deserves a break. I am in the Stark fan club. Like, my boy deserves a break. Yes. One of his traveling companions is consistently mean and rude to him.
Yeah, that one's uncalled
really
for.
hard. Yeah, it really is. He works really hard and gets kicked around. He has to pretend to be a dead guy for 3 months. Like, he deserves a break. He deserves nice things. Like, man, this kid.
And then again, continuing thematically, with Stark, I like that he has his boundaries though, because when that guy is like, hey, you want to stay on? He's like, I am not your dead kid. And I appreciate the guy going, yeah, and I'm not your dead dad either. So I was like, ooh.
And also confirmation that his village did get wiped off the map.
Yes.
Because we only had his point of view when he was leaving. He didn't know. And this other guy just being like, so the village is done. Like, some of them might have survived. Who knows? But
that's
like,
possible.
The village is wrecked. Like, all right, good to know. But just the ruse of, you're going to pretend to be my dead son for this big soiree so that people don't lose hope and we can get the army back together. And I'm like, this is real messed up. And also, I get it.
Yep. And it's one of those, I do love oh no, we're not going to do that. Oh, but I'll pay you. How much? A lot. Oof. Yeah, it's one of them. Sorry. You are volunteer distribute.
And it seems like Frieren has experience with the family.
Yeah.
Hence we don't want to be mixed up in any of your anything, just annoyed by them, and then, oh, we do need the money. Oh no.
Yeah, they're like, oh, we so broke. Which
Like,
also,
heck.
do you think Freeran, then we're doing this with our themes today, when they get to the sleeping village, Freeran really meant like, now let's peace out? When Fern's all, no, we gotta do this. And she goes, oh, I was just kidding. Do you think she was actually just kidding? Or was Freeran ready
I
to peace out?
I
Or
think
both?
she meant
Somewhere in the
it
middle.
because
Okay, yeah.
she has been, on the one hand, they do have a priest with them who has been shown to be a straight up genius at his craft.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, she knows what a curse is. She knows that none of the party is immune. And that's like, yeah, no, he's great. And how well do we know him? So I can definitely understand like seeing a curse and going, this is not something I can fix. Lol, bye. Like, because you got to you can't help anyone if you can't take care of yourself first. So yeah, it's heartless, but like, the heck is she going to do? If it had just been the three of them, that would have been the prudent course of action. It's not just the three of them, and Zine is very good at his job. So that does change things, but no, I don't blame her for the knee-jerk reaction being, and we're leaving. I was like, yeah, if it had been just them three, then you need a priest or you're hosed. Because again, the goddess pointing to priests and going, I've picked this one, makes them very resistant to curses. No one else gets that.
And it's the thing that they can't help every single one they come across, because it's one they will either never reach their destination or it's just not really feasible to hit up every single one. Can they do it along the way? And are they continuing to help out more? Yes. Yeah. But this was a situation of like, ooh, this is dangerous. We should get out, which we did see them starting to drop like flies.
Yeah.
But I did like our Freeran Bamf move of like, oh, it's only 5 seconds. That's all I need. She's like, yeah, cool.
Just no, I can do it. I'm like, okay, so she thinks quickly and casts quickly. So again, all he has to say is the core, and she's already. Yeah. That flower had a sphincter, and it was terrible.
Oh, it was.
It had a
sphincter. Well, as we went up, it also looked like another body part, and then I was like, it's all kinds of.
Like, we're having fun with this one. Who designed that flower?
Very different pivot, but looking in the comments, no, Laura says, I did like Stark and Fern dancing and Stark being a gentleman. Like, oh, yes. Fern, I think, really liked it too.
Oh, yeah. I am wondering how much of the etiquette training, etc., is going to stick around and when it's going to come back.
It might get. I think that'd be fun for it to be useful later. Yes.
That seems like the sort of thing where you don't just cash dump it when you're done. That sticks in the back of your brain and you remember things. I think for both of them.
And I think for long-term storytelling, this will be the fun one of like, hey, we had this training, and then later they will need something from that, and he'll be like, actually, I know how to handle this.
Be like, hang on, we good. I know this dance. Yeah. But back to the flower.
Yes.
Actually getting some insight from Zine's perspective and getting his internal monologue and his, we don't have this camaraderie. Like he wants to go find his friend that he's known forever, and they have that camaraderie, and him going, I don't know if I can trust her. I don't know what we'll do. I don't. And then having the very convenient flashback to, I learned to trust her words. I learned that she's probably going to do what she says she's going to do. So it's like, okay. So just that, I appreciate how much this show likes to upend expectations. That we had the monologue from Hyder about, I look like an adult, but I haven't felt like an adult literally ever. I've just been doing my best. And I'm like, you are a high-ranking priest official and a church official, and you raised a child, and you still don't feel like an adult? Relatable. And then this just, there's so much emphasis in stories based on, these companions, they're bosom friends, they know each other so well, they can communicate with a glance. And then this being like, yeah, you don't get that luxury sometimes. Sometimes you just have to trust that a person is gonna do what they said they would do. And then lo and behold, they do it.
Yes.
So I appreciate that we have the big high fantasy tropes and the journey tropes and all of that fun stuff, but we also have the practical realism of
Mhm,
this is the
mhm,
human experience. This is just how stuff works sometimes. And the fact that it balances so nicely. Like the
mhm.
construction on the story is amazing,
I like this Rat Rattler. The party. Fuck it. We ball.
essentially.
Yeah. They get it done, so we'll see how their journey continues. We definitely hopped all over the place for these three, but that's fine. Was there any other moments that stood out to you that we didn't cover?
With the older dwarf,
Yes,
with
let's
it
circle back
talking
to
with
him. That was
Frieren
great.
about why do we
Mm-hmm.
do what we do, and him
Yeah.
saying, "I can't remember my wife's face. I can't remember the sound of her
Mm-hmm.
voice. I can't remember anything about her,
Mm-hmm.
but I remember that I loved her and that she loved this village.
You're like,
So I'm
oh.
doing this for her."
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
just that, what is grief but love enduring, right? Right?
Yes. Oh, that was so sweet. And then the idea too that these creatures that live a long time, and Fern telling Frieren, you don't have many people that you can talk about the good old days of yonder years way back when,
Mhm.
because nobody else was alive 300 years ago. So it's like, oh
And I
yeah,
mean, everyone else in the village is just this old guy's been protecting the village as long as
that's
any of us
it.
know. Like, the reasons why he knows them, but like,
Yeah,
has anyone bothered to ask? Or has he even
right.
told them? Or
Has
is he just
nobody talked to
playing the
them?
senile card?
I think
It's
he's playing the
possible that he's,
senile card because the guy says, "Oh, he can barely utter a word and stuff." So I think for
yeah.
why he wants to pull that card, many reasons to be there, but okay, no,
But we
he's just
also
doing the.
have,
Mhm.
like, there are parts of his mind that are genuinely going because he got the like,
Yeah,
"Oh, you're finally leaving to defeat the Demon King," after we've
yeah,
had that conversation about, "Yeah, the Demon King is dead. My wife would have loved to have
yeah.
lived in the peace that you
Mhm.
created." Just
Mhm.
that sort of like, "Oh, yeah, no." He's playing it up, but I think he also knows that, like, he's not all there anymore.
And I like that Freerun really treated that kindly of not.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like real life of dementia of you don't go like no. Is there enough to be like, mm-hmm, okay, and moving on of just don't the confrontation because
Yeah.
like what's the goal of
What's
we
the
already
point?
did that because then he'll be like, wait, what are you talking about?
Yeah. You
So it's
do
like,
not reality check a dementia patient. You just vibe with them in the world and the time that they're in. Like, it is fine. But yeah, that is the one thing I think that we didn't really get into that was
yeah.
worth covering.
I thought that was really sweet though of and then he got his validation of him will ask him like why are you still here, and it's the well, I bet your wife is happy that you've kept your promise. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, so many awes in these episodes, so
Yeah.
yeah. uh
All right.
yeah. So I think that was a delightful set of episodes. If there were other moments that stood out to you watching, let us know. Leave a comment down below. And again, remember, no spoilers, just these little chunks of episodes.
Mhm.
All right. So let's get into where to go. Yes, other stuff you should check out. So game shows, uh, movies. I do feel most of the things we recommend with Animation is Film Festival is like
Yeah.
I'm like, go watch those. Colors Within, Ghost Cat Anzu, highly recommend, both for very different reasons of flavor, but both incredibly entertaining. Those are ones I saw. You
The day the
didn't.
earth blew up. The day the earth
Yeah.
blew up. I know it's not going to be for like 5 months. Just stay strong, fam. I know that international audiences are getting it first, but like, we're getting it in theaters. Get a ticket. Wear a mask if you're still not super comfortable being unmasked in public. I do still very much mask in public. I know all of my like photos are, "Oh, you're not wearing a mask." I'm like, take it off for the camera, put it right back on when we're done. That is how we vibe.
I did remember. I did start a show. It is a thing of I appreciate when titles from one platform go to another one because in case you didn't have platform one, guess what? Platform two, you do have Yellow Jackets. I can't remember if I mentioned that last time, but I just started that. That was a Showtime show now on Netflix. At least the first season. I haven't checked if two is on there. Somebody's mentioning there's more than one season, but if you want some really dark, effed up stuff, so far so good. Yeah, here we go. This was kind of covered at the event too, because there was a thing about Transformers. Gigaderic goes, I believe Transformers 1 is out tomorrow on digital. It's excellent and definitely worth seeing. Nice.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh. Back to Yellow Jackets. Rabbit Adler says, recreational cannibalism in the Rockies. Yes. Really briefly, it is a girls' soccer team that crash lands in the I think it's the Canadian wilderness because they were flying from New Jersey and had to go that route for whatever reason. But the thing about it that's so far really interesting is they're cutting between present day, which is five-ish years after that happened, and then going back and forth. So you don't know who all survived and what they did all yet. So far it's very entertaining that way, but it is dark AF. So warning for that one.
They had 2 years ago at Comic-Con, one of the restaurant takeovers was Yellow Jackets. And I was sitting with a friend having a milkshake and watched something extremely disturbing go down on the screen while I'm having this milkshake. And she watched Yellow Jackets and I elbowed her. And as much as I hate to interrupt the conversation, I need you to explain what is happening right now to me. Because this is weird even for like the genre of the show. And there was an explanation and it was a dream sequence. So I'm like, oh, that makes more sense now. Okay. Because that was weird. And it's playing on mute with no subtitles. So it's like, something's happening. That was wild. That is my Yellow Jackets experience.
Love it. Love it. Also, speaking of cross-platform pollination there, and bees, Yellow Jacket. No, not really. Bad pun. There's some AMC shows too that are now on Netflix. So keep an eye out. Like if there's some shows, just
The Terror. God and everyone on Tumblr is nuts about The Terror. I haven't watched it, but like I hear amazing things. It's about one of the expeditions to the South Pole. One of the doomed ones, I think, way back when.
That one looked really cool. That is on my queue because that was also, that was an AMC show.
I hear excellent things.
All right.
Yeah.
Good things for spooky stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. Speaking of Down to Done, keeping up with it. I think I'm going to keep keeping up with it. I am. It's real weird, but I am enjoying. Are you caught up? We're 3 episodes in so far. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a weird one. It's a weird one, but I am enjoying it. We are also 2 episodes into the new season of Shangri-La Frontier.
Yes. That one I'm one behind, but yes.
The second one dropped yesterday. Like I was just watching them and it popped up. I'm like, great, awesome, perfect timing. Yeah, it's I miss this world. I missed these characters. I'm very, very happy to get back to them. It's a good time. And I'm finally back to reading actual books for the first time in forever. And of course, multiple times this week I have fallen victim to I'll do a little reading before bed. And then suddenly it's been 2 hours and I'm like, I'm going to have regrets tomorrow. Because I know this about myself. And yet the book is too good. The one I just finished is called How to Become the Dark Lord and Die Trying. And it is.
Okay.
Time loops. Our protagonist has been pulled into this fantasy world and told, oh, you must defeat the Dark Lord. And she's been at this for over 1,000 years worth of time loops. And she finally goes, you know what? No. If you can't beat them, become them. So it's her quest to become the Dark Lord. And reading the author's notes in the back, I'm like, all right, time loop isekai, let's go. And then the author writes, I was inspired by isekai tropes. I was inspired by this. I described it to my friends as a combination, as a cross between So I'm a Spider, So What, and ReZero. I'm like, no, that's fair. I can see the ReZero in this. And it was very interesting reading it. It's a very casual language, a little vulgar, but a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point, because like, okay, you're used to the mechanics as our protagonist describes them. You're used to the world building is a lot of fun. And then, of course, we get 2/3 the way through, and something shifts drastically to the point where it even takes the protagonist by surprise. And I'm sitting here going, what? It's
Mm.
we just peeled back another layer of the world. You want to take a closer look? I'm like, oh no, this is perfect. It is the first of a duology, and it was on the new bookshelf of the library, so I assume that we're not getting the other half for a
Mm.
while. I did go into it knowing that it was the first part of 2 because the librarian saw it in my stack and went, "Yeah, I didn't know it was only a part 1. I was kind of upset at that. I don't wanna have to wait." I'm like,
Mm.
"No, that's fair." So, knowing that it's a part 1 is helpful. Um, I loved it. I loved it. A plus, highly recommend. Good times.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, if there's stuff that you've been reading, watching, video games, whatever, live productions, we also love those here. Leave comments down below. Let us know what you are checking out. And thank you so much for joining us. If you watch this live, awesome. Thank you for joining us in the live chat. And if you're watching later, also awesome. Comment down below on the different various topics we covered. And Katie, where can people find you online?
You can follow me all over the social medias as well as on YouTube and Twitch at Kiaxet. That is Kiaxet. I am also on a horror channel called Silver Screams where my roommate and I do horror things.
Woot.
Yeah.
And y'all can find me online at Carrie D Lane. That's Karidlane. Again, reminders to be following us here on the Fanversation YouTube channel. Subscribe, notifications so that you'll know when we get those videos out. And I was just going to live chat. Yes. Also, you should follow us. So there you go. Forgot this earlier. NTATNB on Twitter because we've posted different links or announcements, or if we've talked about like a product or something like that, pictures will be over there.
Yep.
Yes. So thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.